Biblically Centered Kids.
Hello and happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to another great day of the Biblically Centered Kids podcast. Today is February 21st, 2024, and my name is Mr. Johnny, and we're going to have some fun today. Okay, let's talk a little bit about something that happened on this day. I only have one thing for you today. On this day in 1995, American businessman and adventurer Steve Fawcett became the first person to fly solo across the Pacific Ocean in a balloon. It was the first of many of his aviation records. Have you ever been in an airplane? Have you ever flown in like a different kind of vessel, maybe like a helicopter or a hot air balloon? I once had the opportunity to fly in a helicopter over a football field and drop stuffed animals down to the field for kids to run and grab. It was a lot of fun, but there wasn't a door on the side of the helicopter I was sitting on, so it also was a little nerve-wracking. All right, do you remember what virtue we're learning about this week? It's Virtue H. We humbly admit our mistakes, submit to correction, and accept discipline. So today we're going to have a little bit of fun. In honor of our virtue of admitting mistakes and submitting to correction, we are going to be listening to simple sentences and seeing if we can identify the mistake in the sentence. This game might speak more to the older kiddos, but even if you're younger and you haven't started to learn or identify sentence structures, see if there's anything that maybe just sounds off in these sentences. I promise you'll learn something along the way. All right, it's time for Let's Correct These Sentence Mistakes. Wait, am I missing all of my mistakes? This game is courtesy of EspressoEnglish.net. Okay, here we go. Sentence number 1. We cleaned all the kitchen while our parents were out to dinner. We cleaned all the kitchen while our parents were out to dinner. What's the wrong word in that sentence? All right, so incorrect says we cleaned all the kitchen while our parents were out to dinner. The correct verbiage is we cleaned the entire kitchen while our parents were out to dinner. We use the word all for plural nouns. As an example would be like all the students. So there's more than one student, so all the students. But we don't use it for singular nouns. So when you want to talk about 100% of one thing, use the whole or the entire, not all. All right, next sentence. One of the most important issue is the lack of parking spaces at the local mall. One of the most important issue is the lack of parking spaces at the local mall. I think this one might be a little easier for some of you. So the incorrect word is issue. One of the most important issue. What should it be? One of the most important issues is the lack of parking spaces at the mall. So it's issues, not issue. So whenever you say something like one of, that means the noun has to be plural, but the verb has to be singular. For example, one of my friends isn't feeling well. Achoo! Or one of the eggs was rotten.
Ew.
All right, next sentence. Do you have a few minutes to discuss about the project? Do you have a few minutes to discuss about the project? Seems off a little. So the correct is, do you have a few minutes to discuss this project? Or do you have a few minutes to talk about the project? So discuss is the same as talk about, so you can do either one. But it's not necessary to use the word about after the word discuss. Next sentence. The survey we performed recently showed that most of customers are satisfied. The survey we performed recently showed that most of customers are satisfied. So the incorrect words are most of customers. What do you think we need to add in there? There's a few options. You can say, showed that most of the customers, or most of our customers, or you can just say most customers. So one example would say, the survey we performed recently showed that most customers are satisfied. So after most of, you need to have an article like the, or a possessive like my, his, our, their, etc. However, if you only use most, then you don't need anything. And you can go straight to the noun, like most people. You wouldn't say most the people or most my people. You would just say most people, most houses, etc. Next sentence. Although I've known him for a while, I still can't believe how much stubborn he is. Although I've known him for a while, I can't believe how much stubborn he is. So there at the end it says how much stubborn, which is incorrect. The correct way would say, although I've known him for a while, I still can't believe how stubborn he is. Before adjectives like stubborn, use only how. For example, how friendly, how cold, how expensive. We use how much or how many with nouns. How much money, how many friends, how much snow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
All right, just a few more, okay? I've loved listening to music ever since I was a child. I've loved listening to music ever since I was a child. That doesn't sound right. What do you think you could do differently? You could say, I've loved music ever since I was a child. Or you could say, I loved music ever since I was young. All right, last one, okay? Here's the sentence. Would you like to take part of this activity? Would you like to take part of this activity? How about, would you like to take part in this activity? That's actually the correct way. Because if you take part of something, it means you literally remove a piece of it. For example, you could say, like, he took part of the bread and dipped it in the oil.
Yummy.
So take part in means to participate. For example, I took part in the chess tournament.
Checkmate.
So that's why we say we're taking part in the activity, not of the activity. So how'd you do? Were you able to find any of the grammar mistakes before I explain them? I mean, I hope you learned something along the way of this game. Was it the most fun you've ever had playing a game? Well, maybe not, but that's okay. I think the most important thing to understand at a deeper level is that mistakes happen. Look, I'm a grown-up and I make mistakes. Mistakes are common. But just like our virtue says for this week, we humbly admit our mistakes. God does not require us to be perfect. He knows mistakes are going to happen. But thankfully, we serve and worship the one true God who forgives all of our mistakes and sins through Jesus. Be sure to listen to tomorrow's episode on our New Testament Thursday. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Until next time.